Hi there, my name is Holden Edmonds, and I'll be giving you a brief presentation on mead making. So to start off, the basic contents of mead are water, honey, and yeast. The yeast converts sugar in the honey to alcohol, and generally, although these are the basic contents, other processes that you need to be aware of are factors such as factors that affect taste, the alcohol content of the mead, and the hangover you might experience the next day. For the preparation of the mead, you need to be able to rely on the mead's trace flavors from the honey and any other fruits or spices that you use. This is because the sugar within the mead will be completely converted from the through the yeast into alcohol. So any type of sweetness that you might taste from the sugar won't be there once the fermentation is done. Different honey will produce different mead that varies in taste. And it can also be beneficial to boil the honey before you ferment it to remove any impurities that might exist in the honey. You can add fruits and spices, and examples could be you could add cinnamon and nutmeg if you want a sharper taste, or you could add grapes and apples or any other fruits for a smoother taste. And a big thing is proportionality. You don't want to have so much additives that it overpowers the mead, but also so little that you can't taste anything. Acidification is when the mead is exposed to excessive air. When it is exposed to excessive air, it acidifies and it produces a rank smell and a bitter taste, almost like a vinegar. It essentially ruins your batch. To avoid this, you need to limit air exposure. You want to use an airlock of some sort, which prevents the container from exploding as well. And you also want to make sure that you don't open the container. Duration and post-fermentation. You want to be able to allow the mead to fully ferment. This can take between 1 to 9 months, depending on the preference that you have. If you like your alcohol content to be higher, or you like the taste to be a little more smoother, you probably want to wait longer. You can measure the level of fermentation and alcohol content with a hydrometer. And after fermenting, you want to strain the mead at least once to remove any microorganisms and yeast that exist still. You can also cold crash the mead, which is essentially refrigerating the mead, which kills the active yeast cells. And so in case you did add any type of sweetener, the yeast wouldn't begin fermenting the mead again. You want to save your dead yeast for yeast nutrient for your next batch, because the yeast nutrient can be useful for the active yeast to start the process of fermentation. For alcohol content, this is usually controlled with the sugar and yeast content in the mead. You want to aim for the target alcohol percentage of 12 to 18%. And a rule of thumb for making mead is 1 quart of honey per 1 small packet of wine or champagne yeast. And these yeasts can be found at Walmart or Amazon. So in conclusion, mead making can be something that's incredibly cheap and enjoyable to both make and consume. And although there are pretty basic steps involved, you need to be aware of the major steps that enhance the mead's flavor and their alcohol content. And experimentation is okay. If you mess up once or twice, it's okay, as long as you find your personal preference. Thank you.